An elderly woman has lost her life in the floodwaters which have engulfed Lismore. More than 300,000 people are now affected by evacuation warnings in the state's north, and emergency crews have carried out more than 1,000 rescues. Communities all the way down the New South Wales coast are now on alert for severe weather. We have reporters covering this developing story in key locations. First, though, to Mark Reddy in Ballina. Mark, it's been a day of dramatic rescues and extraordinary bravery.
It certainly has, Juanita. Defence Force helicopters have been swung into action, plucking people from their rooftops, while anyone with a boat is doing their bit to rescue neighbours from rising floodwaters. Tonight, people living in low-lying areas of Ballina have been ordered to evacuate now as the swollen Richmond River continues to rise. Trapped on the roof with the rest of their house underwater, these Bunga residents need help from above. And they get it. An ADF helicopter hovers over their home, winching them to safety one by one by one. Mark O'Toole in the yellow jacket was one of them. He spoke to ABC local radio while the rescue was taking place.
Like they said today, they said, Mark, look, you're on a priority list. We've got a helicopter over the top of us now.
He'd been stuck there for days, along with his disabled son and their elderly landlord.
Things are all happening at once.
You think you're being rescued now?
Yes, I hope so. He's gone around and around us. Oh, you've got no idea how pleased I am, though.
And they aren't the only ones with daring tales of escape. Many residents of Woodburn were forced to sleep in their cars, stuck on the bridge over the swollen Richmond River.
The wife and baby were sleeping on the bridge, and the first boat turned up another side of the bridge to get them to the evac point. So I had to go and wake them up and bundle them up and throw them on the first boat out off the bridge.
Just about all of the nearby houses are underwater, some more so than others.
The true courage and compassion that has been on display is, of course, heartening. We are positioning further ADF support all along the eastern coast of Australia.
In Ballina, families are getting to safety while they still can.
Just water everywhere. I had to wake him up and quickly tell him to hurry up and pack a few bags and let's go.
Residents here woke up to find the area around them transformed.
It's very deep. There's a lot of water.
An evacuation order was issued for South and West Ballina, along with other low-lying areas.
At the moment, panic is going on with most of Ballina.
The floodwaters have already reached the Ballina motel. This man has lived here for the past 8 months. Now his room is unlivable.
How's it sort of left you feeling this morning?
Oh. Devastated.
South Ballina is among the worst affected areas in this region. In a sign of just how stretched SES crews are, some residents are using their own boats to rescue their neighbours, many of them elderly residents stuck inside these homes.
This lad needed a bit of help, so, towed him out, and then I'm going to keep doing the same thing for hopefully the rest of the day.
This woman was rescued from her home along with her cat. Fred Connors is another who can thank locals for getting him to safety. Surf lifesavers came to the rescue well away from the beach.
The champions, a daughter from Brisbane, threatened me and said, Dad, if they tell you to get out, get out. So we did.
After slowly receding, the Richmond River is once again on the rise tonight and a whole new threat is emerging. Mark Reddy, ABC News, Ballina.
The scale of the devastation is such that authorities warned lives would likely be lost. And today came confirmation of one family's tragedy. Cayman Gock is live for us in Lismore. Cayman, for a community that's been through so much already, this is a very sad development.
Juanita, police say a worried neighbour found the woman's body this morning after their entire street had been inundated. The woman is yet to be formally identified, but the fear is that more lives have been lost as relatives search for missing loved ones. The centre of Lismore completely submerged. And the aftermath of this disaster is becoming clearer. A woman in her 80s has died after being trapped in her home. And the search for others still missing continues, including Stuart Bock, who disappeared late on Sunday. His daughter and her friend have issued this desperate plea for help.
He was walking towards the Golan to help out, and he just hasn't reappeared yet. And so we just really want to find it.
Boats continued to look for stranded locals. The well-known 1974 flood markers are only now resurfacing. Pollution leaches through the floodwaters, which are littered with debris. Homes, businesses and places of worship remain underwater. And it wasn't only people who sought refuge on rooftops.
And there's a cow on the roof.
At the height of the emergency, rescue crews went door to door to try to save lives.
Fire rescue, can you hear me?
Carol and Trevor Ronan spent the night huddled in their ceiling.
We were freezing and shivering and scared.
More than 4,000 rescues occurred in Lismore yesterday. You can see how quickly the water's been receding. Yesterday, the floodwaters were above that tattoo parlour where the bin now lies on its roof. The problem now is boats can't get over the levee where people are still trapped in South and North Lismore.
We do have 3 ADF helicopters in the area working very hard.
And there are hundreds of people now displaced in evacuation centres. Andrew Neve's home had been standing for 90 years and had never flooded before.
The only things I salvaged was no clothes, just my dog and my cat and her ashes. That's all I've got. That's all I could save.
67-year-old Denise Mackney was rescued by the SES and has nothing but the clothes on her back.
My place has been a labour of love the whole time I've worked on it.
Community spirit here is strong. Rescue efforts were assisted by a group of recently arrived Fijian meat workers.
Back in our home in Fiji, it's normal. We used to help each other like this, and we're very happy to be part of the community to help.
There are so many people in our community devastated and hurting right now, but when the time comes to get in, clean up, rebuild, that's what we do, and we will do it.
Fighting words after an unmitigated disaster. Cameron Gock, ABC News, Lismore.
As the rain system slowly moves south, the Central Coast is now preparing its defences. Ben Millington is live for us in Gosford. Ben, how are things going there?
Well, the local footy teams had their training cancelled today, so they've generously donated their time to come down and fill sandbags here at the Gosford SES, and that help really is needed because there's just been unprecedented demand for sandbags here. The SES has handed out 150 tonnes worth of sand, thousands of sandbags over the last couple of days. So many people preparing their homes. The blokes here at the SES say they've never seen anything like it, and they think it might be because people are a little bit spooked about what they've seen on their TV screens in recent days. The other factor is there's been a lot of rain here in recent days. Last week there was significant flash flooding, so the ground here is already sodden, it's already drenched, and any more rain at this point really isn't welcome.
Ben Millington reporting there. Sydney is also on alert for flooding. Let's bring in Jake Lapham. Jake, the Premier is warning that the worst is yet to come.
Juanita, people living in the city's northwest have been told to get prepared now for possible flooding soon. The Weather Bureau says up to 200 millimetres of rain could fall in just 6 hours, and that will lead to dangerous river conditions across the city, including the Parramatta, Cooks and Hawkesbury rivers. With wild weather on the way, it's all hands on deck in the Hawkesbury.
Hopefully I can get stuff up in the house in the higher levels and hope for the best there. Good neighbour, eh?
The memory of last year's floods are still fresh.
We had this much water through the place and all you could see was water.
These turf farmers around Richmond are worried damage done to the riverbank back then means their properties are even more vulnerable now.
The way it is at the moment, because it hasn't been repaired, well, if it jumps over, we'll be flooded in like 1-2 hours. All our farms will be gone.
The deluge in the north of the state is heading south.
We could see 6-hourly rainfall totals anywhere from 50 to 150 millimetres.
The time to prepare is now.
Despite some controlled releases, Warragamba Dam is at 99% capacity and likely to spill.
What they have to do is assess the risk of increasing the chance of flooding downstream by the release of that water.
Minor to moderate flooding is expected in Western Sydney river catchments in the coming days, but east coast lows are notoriously unpredictable, so locals are taking no chances.
Yeah, a bit nervous. I suppose you don't know what's going to happen with this weather, but just have to wait and see. Better safe than sorry. Got caught out last time, so hopefully not this time, eh?
A community at the mercy of Mother Nature. Jake Lapham, ABC News.